Why did that pop up? Can you guys let me know if this stream is broken or not? I don't like that it popped up twice. Yeah, I'm still adjusting. I just finished adjusting all of them on Tradeify. Um, Pretty garbage, but pretty clear a rejection so far. At our value high, right? Or I guess it's a POC of this range where POC is shifted down is a better way to put it. We've had two shifts since open. We had POC open at our 590. And then we've rotated down where our developing has shifted this for a 560 right here. And now we've pushed down and have filled our gap on NQ. Right. So our overnight gap has been filled. And we are now holding where we closed yesterday at this 530. We need to figure out what we're going to do from here. So far, doesn't look great, right, for bulls. They are holding, but we're not seeing a whole lot else happen. So to me, it kind of looks like sell side still has control here. We can see that our new 15s have opened below POC of the previous candle. So our first signs that that could shift is going to have to be like us pushing back above this POC to value high here, showing a bit more interest, or we'll expect that we'll be heading down further. That's the general kind of vibe right now. That being said, it is very choppy, right? We are doing inside candles from our gap fill, and we have showed no interest so far to go down further, other than the inability to go up, right? So it's just consolidation right now. Very clear, tight balance, but with a gap fill to the downside already accomplished, and a overall downtrend on the day. But that this can be considered absorption here into these lows. We just need to see the right side of the V before we can go higher, right? So my general bias is continuation down with how price is building, but that could change if we do see the bid start to step back up and get us outside of this range and show interest above these highs, right? So I have a slight bearish bias, um, but can be proven wrong very easily, right? If price action shows it. So that's my kind of feel so far. It's very clear that we are in balance, and we are just watching to see if we can hold either below 530 or above 560, right? So 30-point range right now, and we're just watching to see if POC is going to continue to shift down like we were just talking about, with this shift that occurred here at our open, and then this shift that occurred here on the secondary drop. And now we're watching to see again if there's going to be a third shift where our low is going to become POC, where this node is building out currently. We can see that. This builds out here again, and this flips to, say, supportive. We should at least head up to 60, right? If this becomes POC. If this fails here and we push below, it should be a very clear resistance for another leg down, just like we saw here and just like we saw here. So this would be our third, where this then becomes resistance. Then we look for this to lead to another leg down and a break outside of this balance that we are currently trading in. Any questions about what I just said, or does that all make sense? Mm-hmm.
Voice new.
My RTY chart is just like straight up broken. Oh, okay. So weird. Switch back contracts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the buttons. Like it didn't even change anything on my DOMs. Like none of my contracts actually flipped, and all of them stayed the same. My DOMs stayed the same. Just made me press OK. Useless button. All right, as we push into 50 to 60, this is where we start to look to see if there's a seller or if we're going to be able to push over this and start to hold. Just keep an eye on this area. This is where I'd expect a seller to be if we were going to make a slight lower high in this balance downward. Again, it's either like we flip this or this is where we start to see some absorption into these highs. We want to see if we're going to be bullish, a little bit of a push above and then hold. If not, then this is where we start at the top of balance, maintain slightly lower highs. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, 50, pretty clear offer there. Slight push down. Testing our POC off the developing here. This dotted line at 40. Watching to see if we can hold here or if this is going to flip offer and then start to lead down. Just following this general idea that sell side is sitting above into eyes and that we're just in balance, but with the offer slowly kind of like lowering us down. Just need to see who's going to win out this fight in this 30-point balance that we're trading in right now. Judge just dismissed the terrorism charges. Holy lack of evidence. The evidence that was pertained was not sufficient. Legally uphold. Makes sense, to be honest. That case was a cluster. So many bad things, so many I don't want to say holes, but not a well put together case. All right, this is first target here. If you're shorting off of 50 to 60, rotation back down into our lows. We're just watching to see how we interact here into this low, seeing if balance is going to persist, or if we get a slight bounce here and then retest this node that I've been talking about since I got on as resistance for another POC shift and a continuation down. Kind of looks like that's already happened potentially, and that we are going to just take out lows now, which is what we just did. We'll see if this ETH low to value low holds offer, this area that I just marked in yellow. If this holds offer here, should be able to head down a bit further. ES leading. Keeping an eye on it. But balance persisted, lower highs held, 50 to 60 maintained. Yeah. Twenty 30 lower high holding here so far. Off of our PVZ value to ETH low, our yellow box, pushing down. All right, retesting our breakdown now. See if we hold our yellow zone again, or if we're gonna have to come back up to that 540. I'd like to see this 20 to 30 to hold offer if we are going to continue down short term. Failure to hold here is just going to result in another need for a rotation back up, right? If we recover our value low, that's an issue for short term downside. We'll probably just rotate back up to 540 or POC retest. Let's see if sell side's willing to sit here. I see two trades. One is our reversion signal here, playing off of our reversion box low and this lower high here, or rotations back up 530, like so. This being first target, this being second target. And I see a short setup here where you're playing your risk off of this 20 to 30, and you're looking for new lows for 90. Right, so like these are our two areas of interest that I'm looking at. Either a push into this zone and then a lower offer, and then playing this as your risk. Once we get into this area and show a lack of interest to go up, we then look for 20 to go offer again, and then we look for this rotation down to 490, like so, where you're playing off of our PVC reversion zone and our signal and invalidation level that just got put in, right? And this is looking for that higher low here for our PT of our PVC. This is target 1, then this would be target 2. I see these two setups. Just which one in, but I do see both. We're watching to see if we can do something like so. An entry for the short is here. The long is here at our signal, or a secondary here on the look back above. All right, just changing levels to accurately talk about what I just said. 20 to 30. Need to see offer step below that. Offer sitting at 3175 on NQ above. Just watching to see what our interaction is here into our PVZ value below, as well as our daily value low. If we pop above, should head up to 540. Yes, doing our full rotation up. Watch RTY into VWAP. Let me carry over our downtrend line just for a visual aid of what we're looking for us to flip if we're going to continue up. If not, then again, this is target here into POC. And then we need to see if this is going to flip as supportive on a look above and hold for full rotations up off of a recovery of our balance, or if our balance is going to persist, then we'll put in a lower high. And again, we only care about this seller if we flip below 520. Get back below this ETH low from here. 40 seconds till new 15s, holding our 20 so far, no change. Need to look below and hold for that offer to maintain that continuation down, or we will just be looking for a recovery of our balance low into new 15s and then a rotation back up to our target. As we have stated, watching for Russell to ideally lead down if we're going to get this break. I think a 300-point gap fill will happen in the afternoon. You talking at what? What gap fill? Oh, are like the contract roll? I don't know, man. Today? Unsure. This is a contract fill. This isn't Like if you actually, so we just did a contract flip from ESU to ESZ. So potentially, but I'm not like going out of my way to look for it today. We just did the gap fill from overnight on our contract. So now it's just a matter of do we rotate through yesterday's value or not? We'll have to see. It's from the market, how the market's moving right now. I'm not like early bearish or bullish. I mean, it looks very balanced, but definitely sell side is in control short term. But we're not seeing like a very clear willingness to continue down further as of right now. Which and that doesn't really mean much. It just means that we're still consolidating, waiting for our next leg in a bit more of a directional bias. This low, there's both buyers and sellers kind of building it out. Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna continue to play with trend, right? But I'm not looking for anything like insane. Just because of the speed is a bit slow. Needs to be a bit more convincing for me. But yeah, that is a target that I will be looking for if we continue the downside movement. That is something I will definitely be looking for. I try not to focus too much on contract fills as there's uh we don't always see them filled, right? So it's not something that I'm uh outwardly going for and targeting. Um but it definitely can be a target. Yeah, you're good. No, I again like I think marking the contract fill is worthwhile, but I think that if you focus too much on it, that you'll start to ignore like the price action that's happening on the day and the structure that's building out on like today's action on today's contract, and it can really push a bias for you and make you continue to look for that when we haven't really shown the signs yet that are going to get us there, right? And then all of a sudden you're like continuing to short in a low imbalance, and then we like never break down and you just take like 40 break evens and then you miss the long, right? So I try not to focus on like those like big targets because I have a tendency to then kind of like put blinders on. So like I'll reference it, like I'll mark it as an overall target, but I still need to see people willing to get us there before I even like consider it. I guess that's the best way to put it. 20 still holding offer. There's no change here. Our 20 is still supportive. Need to just see this very clear look below and holds, and then we can play off of this at distance. Until then, this low is still maintaining. No change. Still holding our value low of previous candle. Just looked over value high of our previous candle. Still looks like balance to me. A great first target into our 540 if you are still in a long off of our low from our reversion signal that we got here on the flip and hold of our reversion zone low off of PVZ, or if you're playing a secondary here off of 20 or 30. 40 is your middle of range, 60 is your top of range, right? So just gotta wait now to see what happens here. But this is POC on the daily. This is where we would be expecting that seller to be if they were going to be able to maintain a lower high. And again, what we need to see for any sort of like short continuation is from this 40, a willingness to hold and then rotate us below 20, and then that offer to stick and then show interest there to sweep us through. If we continue to fail to show that, then this 20 to 30 will be our low, and we should not be looking for downside continuation. We should be looking for rotations back up through balance off of this failure. Remember, we've already identified what our balance low was. We've identified that this participant is offsides and that we are heading to this 40, right? So secondary target would be this 60. And we're just now watching to see if on the recovery of this balance low, if we can now rotate back up through this and what that interaction is going to look like, right? Because we have shown zero interest on a look back into this to then be able to maintain back below, just like we did down here, right? It's just been higher lows. So we need to see that seller step down below, show that absorption, show that someone is willing to be absorbed here, right? And then look back below where these bids are very clearly resting here at our 20. If we can't do that, we should not expect it, right? If there's no interest below, then we can't trade it. It is what it is. It's just going to be balanced. So I'm really trying to like reiterate that, because you don't want to be in a one directional mindset where you then get stuck while we wait and balance, and you're only taking shorts at our low and longs at our high, and then you're missing the entire balance move that's in between, right? Just it's very easy at our edges to only look for shorts and longs once we've shown a very clear look below and then hold. And then you play this as your risk, right? We have 10 points of risk, but this 10 points of risk is only valid once we look below and then show that sweep through, right? Because then this is where we're playing as our resistance. If we don't see that and all we see is a very clear bid here and then a rotation back up, that's not a short. This is a long, right? And then we're just playing our rotations up into our 40. So I really want to see this seller step in here in the middle of our range, show this this continuation down with lower highs, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high. This is our offer lowering on the DOM, right? This is a seller coming down and pushing value lower. So we need to see if our seller is willing to come down to our buyer, right? Which is what this is showing us. Our offer is lowering, our offer is lowering, our offer is lowering. That means that we now need to see what happens into our bid, which is trying to come up, right? So we're coming into a very tight area where our buyer and our seller are meeting. And after they meet, we need to then choose a direction. So who's going to win in this battle between our bid stepping up and our seller stepping down? That whoever wins this battle here will determine our direction. So that's that, again, that look below 20s, that look above 40s. That will be our flip, and then we choose a direction off of that. I hope that that's making sense. If it isn't, please ask questions. But like until we see either this value shift down here or this value shift up here, I expect balance to persist, because we have not seen anything yet to show that one of these participants are wrong, right? We need someone to flip. We need the bid to become the offer, or the offer to become the bid. But there will be orders resting there, right? And price action always comes second after a market order fail. I think. Price action always comes second after market order fail. I feel like you're thinking of it a little too disconnected, but yeah, I mean, like generally that makes sense. I mean, our price action is is a byproduct of our order flow, right? So we want to be paying attention to where those buyers and sellers are off of our footprint and our volume profile, of course. But our price action is very telling of where those interactions occurred within that at the same time, you know? but it's like it's very clear on footprint that our seller is lowering offer, and like all we did was trade into our POC of this candle, absorb these buyers here, and rotate back down to POC of our previous candle at this low, right? So our current range is very tight. We're in a 10-point range between 30 and 40 right now, between this seller at this POC to value high and this buyer here at our like 25 to 20, which is our low. So it's very hard until we show that flip, because again, like we're just trading between this POC from our seller above and this POC from our buyer below. So until this breaks in between one of these and shows it as resistance, we shouldn't expect a ton of a difference. The only thing that we can do is show that there is a seller that is stepping down during this while this is happening. So like the only way that I look long personally is if this seller steps out of the way and a bid steps up, I'll play it. Or if we step below this buyer who is showing interest down here and passively absorbing these sells, because then that's just telling us our balance is going to persist. Does that make sense or no? Yeah, so there's two profiles on my chart. Our daily profile is here, and then this is a visible range. So this is showing me the volume profile for the candles that are displayed on my chart only. So if I scroll out more, do you see how this profile on the side develops out further? And it completely shifts the more candles I show. So it's showing me all of the volume for the candles that are on my chart. This allows me to get a better idea of where volume is on a smaller time frame compared to our daily profile that's building it out and aggregating all of that volume for the entire day, which is this profile that's directly on top of our candles. If I turn off drawings real quick, the reason why I have both on is because I like to see how volume is accumulating in our most recent candles to give us a better idea of where we should be looking for those offers. Right? So we can see like this node is quite large comparatively compared to this D profile, which is being displayed on our daily. But we're seeing very clear two nodes being built out here, right? We've got our daily profile POC here, which is our largest node on the day, but we have a very clear lower distribution starting to be made down here on the smaller time frame. And so we can look at this area as a reference point of where the buyers and sellers currently are two-sided trading, and we're looking for the offer to either maintain on the tail of this node or the bid to maintain on the tail of this node, on the high of this node, right? This creates our zone of interest that we want to be playing around, which we're seeing right now, right? Like that's that 20, this is that 30 that I've been talking about. So we can see that this is where our buyers and sellers are accumulating, and then the edges or the tails of this distribution are where I care about, because this is what we would consider discount, and this is where we would consider premium for this node specifically where we're building out. And if we can show that sellers stepped down into this what buyers were considering a discounted price, then there's a very clear shift out of our structure and outside of our balance, and it'll allow us to then expand downward. Does that make sense? But without that interaction in our tail edge of our node, and without the willingness to continue to step down price and break outside of this area of value, right, this distribution, we should not expect expansion downward. We should expect reversion upward to the top edge of that node. Right, so that gives us kind of an invalidation and where we should be looking for that price action to occur. Yeah, it is available. So it's just again, it's just two standard volume profiles. If you go to technicals and then you go to profiles in your indicator tab, technicals, then profiles. It is the session volume profile HD. That's your daily profile. And then the other one that I was just talking about is your visible range volume profile. Your visible range is the one that's right here. Your session profile is right here. And I just have both of them on my chart. Same for ES as well. We need to see these lows get taken relatively soon here. Good. See this offer step down further if we're going to get this continuation. Hello, hello. UI still stuck in this range. It's bad for our downside continuation play. They're still willing to just take in passively. We're really watching this 20 to 30. Ideally 2025 holds offer and to just show the seller in control for this downtrend. We need to see a sweep of these lows down. Yes, now battling with our value low. The problem is that Russell is putting in a higher low, diverging, right? So we probably need to wait for 394 on RTY before we can actually head down, is what I'm kind of thinking, right? Got a higher low, probably need to come back up into this C down. But if we can step and RTY starts to lead, that'll allow NQ to get that follow through that we need short term for this seller to start to tip the scales, right, and push us down for that expansion. And again, like our target is looking for this 490. We can continue this on. All right, so there's that sell. Still pretty slow. Need a bit more. We don't really want to see any Russell strength. We want to just either see like choppy sideways or follow through to downside for confluence with the rest of the market. If we continue to absorb down here, then it'll be another failure from sellers and then a rotation up, trapping. I don't use any volume profile or any moving average. It's all order flow, volume profile stuff, and then just like our proprietary indicators that I've made, which are all based off of like volume profile and structural stuff. I don't use a single moving average in my trading. The only thing that you'll see on chart is like a VWAP, which I use quite a bit. Um, but yeah, I use VWAP for reversion trades, which is what these lines are. That's probably what you're confused about. So this is our 15-minute VWAP with just deviation bands on. Give us an idea of how far away we are from our mean. And what I mean by mean is just our VWAP, right? Because I expect that we'll return back up to our mean if we fail to build out below our deviation lows. Then it's just this becomes my target. Isn't this an MA on the 15th? Where? Oh, you're talking about this line? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't use this. This is just a to help people visualize a downtrend bias. That's all for short term. That's literally its only purpose. To see like the quicker changes trend. That has nothing to do with my strategy overall though. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't even recognize that that was on. Yeah, now I'm a like almost pure structural structure and order flow trader. Yeah, no, I mean MAs are not I think they're fine for some higher time frame stuff. But like a singular MA line isn't gonna do. I feel like if you're gonna use any sort of like line based thing, that you have to use just like a VWAP. VWAP's actually used in the industry, and so like it actually has some real world edge to it because we know for a fact that it's used in the industry itself for averaging, right? You've got like a VWAP and a TWAP, a time-based weighted average price, and we have a volume weighted average price. We know that on the floor that they will average in those areas to build out their contract over the day. to build out their price average. And so we can look to see how those interactions are occurring at those areas to see if there's a higher time frame participant building out a position in a direction that we care about, right? So like if we continue to revert to our mean and see a seller stepping in there pretty aggressively, then we know that there is a participant who's willing to step in and maintain that, building out their average for the downtrend. And so that becomes like a pretty easy target for me to then look for that continuation in the direction that we're going. It's the same thing. I use VWAP and I'll use our 30-second opening range because those are both used on the floor. Those are both areas of interest that we care about quite a bit. I'm taking off my first risk here on NQ from our 20 to 30. And we'll be looking for 490 for full target. Yeah, as of right now, I'm hoping for it to become like a 1 to 3, but I'm just taking off risk here because we're seeing Russell coming back down into our lows, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get the breakdown that I want or if it's just going to continue to revert in between. And ES is at our ADR low, so it's also just an area to look for reversion back up off of kind of like a pretty lackluster sell so far. Just that in mind. I try to take off original risk just so that the trade is free. And then I can just keep it in a runner for the continuation potential. We have 20 seconds until new 15-minute candles come out, and our footprint, we can then try to play off of that for a secondary move. It is weird that the continuous contract you have up on is still. It doesn't really matter. I'm not trading it, but yeah, I'll look to change it. Again, like I'm just using Russell as kind of like a reversion signal to let us know when like the seller's actually going to step in for the big move down. Yeah, same pivots, yeah. As long as I'm not trading it, it doesn't really matter. Just looking at it for like bounce points. Yeah, and again, like that divergence ASR is because Russell is up has an upside, right? That is where that divergence is occurring. So we're having a slight divergence where ES is uh, lagging and Q's weakness. So tech. So the best way to think about this if you're new to the stream is we look at the relationship between ES, NQ, and RTY. We look at this relationship because NQ is very tech heavy. So ES is a bit more balanced with what its distribution is, but it's kind of shifting because they keep adding garbage to the S&P 500. But this has a bit more healthcare names. This has a bit more energy names. This has a bit more financial names than NQ, where NQ is very tech focused. ES has a bit more of those other names, and Russell has a lot of those names, right? So that has a lot of our mid cap financials, our mid cap healthcare, our mid cap energy names. And so I watch all three of these because we know when we're going to have a very nice sell when all three are moving in the same direction and finding similar pivots. So I use Russell as a reference point to let us know when we're actually going to get real breakdowns. and I will take NQ trade. I will take profit on NQ around Russell pivots because I know that the market is going to start chopping or coming to a standstill when Russell is coming to pivots and we're not actually able to break down, right? So like that's where that divergence is coming from, is that we actually we can look here at our sector breakdown and see something very similar where what's leading to the downside right now. So banks, so regional banks, again, which are much stronger in these two names, are having a lot of trouble today. But what is holding are our healthcare sectors, our China sectors, our energy sectors, right? So our energy is what's keeping us up on the day. Even if tech is having a bit of a weakness, we're seeing that our gas names, our energy names, our consumer discretionaries are still holding, which is what RTY and ES are a bit more focused in on compared to our tech names. So even though tech is weaker, our energy names are holding. And so when those energy names start to weaken with tech in our communication sector names, that's when the market actually gets a much more drastic move to the downside. But because we have some things that are holding, we get this turtle pattern, right? Or this crab pattern, which is like the market's on a standstill and tech sells off. And then either one of two things are going to happen, right? Ideally, either tech is going to stop selling and then the market can go up because we already have sectors that are positive, right, that have been maintaining, and then we can kind of rotate those names that were carrying the market or holding us the market, their energy names, will start to rotate into our tech names, and then we can continue higher. Or the worst case scenario is that our energy names get to a pivot, right? Like Russell gets to a pivot that we care about, and we see a strong seller position themselves. And then our energy names start to sell off with our tech names, and then we get elevator down, right? It's no longer this like choppy rotations. All of a sudden, all sectors are selling, and we have no institutional flows stepping in to kind of like keep the market balanced and at a standstill, right? Everything starts to sell at the same time. So we keep an eye on our sector pivots. And we do that by just watching Russell, ES, and NQ as a baseline instead of having to look at these individual names. We know that the weighting is different for all three of these. We can just pay attention to these indexes to give us a general idea of what we should be doing at any given point. I've got a lot of videos covering that. But that's kind of like the general idea. You'll see me talk about a lot about taking profit on my NQ trades as Russell comes into VWAP, because I'm such a strong believer that we lose a lot of our breadth, right? Like our short-term momentum as RTY comes into those areas, and we should kind of expect price to chop as we wait for a direction. And I will look to close some of my NQ scalps into these pivots because I expect that that is a short-term level of interest on NQ as well, where we see some profit taking. And so I don't want to get trapped in a position for those moves. How many trades do I take on day? It really depends. It really depends. It also depends on like how long I'm trading. My average sessions are like I don't know, 5 hours, but there are days where I trade full market, so it really depends. But I'll take anywhere between my lowest days where we're like really slow and there's not a very clear directional bias. I'll take 5 trades on a day. On the days where we have lots of really clean rotations, I'll take 150 trades. It doesn't matter. I don't really have a like I just trade when I have edge, right? So if like there's no edge, then I don't trade. But if like there's very clear rotations that we can make money on, then I will make money on those rotations until I'm bored. Personal. I don't trade prop. I don't think there's anything wrong with trading prop. But I think prop is like probably one of happen to for retail. But yeah, no, I trade personal. But I think if you're like just getting started, or if you're building out your cash account, right, for you to switch over eventually to a personal account, I think prop is definitely the way to go, because as you're learning, your risk is so minimal, right? You blow up your account, then you're just going to be paying that monthly fee instead of losing it all. I'm definitely a believer in prop prefer. But once you get pretty confident in your strategies and you've built them out and you've been doing this for quite some time, I think that it definitely makes sense to start to make that switch where you're accumulating some of your prop funds that you've made, those payouts, and putting it into a personal account so that you don't have to pay any of those fees. It's also just better for tax reasons as well. But I think until you can really manage your risk, that it is not worth it whatsoever to trade your personal funds. Because again, like this is the only job where if you do poorly, you can go negative, right? If you're a full-time trader, or if you're a full-time worker, right? If you are at a regular job, this is one of those things where like you have a bad day at work and you really fuck up. The worst thing you do is like you get written up or you get fired. Here you have a bad day at work, you lose money and you can blow up your account and go very negative. So until you have a kind of a mastery of your risk, it is almost never worth it to be trading your personal money when you can be trading someone else's money and getting payouts. So it's really like you have to understand yourself and understand where you're actually at and have a real conversation with yourself, and like be very truthful and honest of like, do I trust myself? Do I have this level of am I where I need to be doing this, or is this too much risk, and are is does the risk not meet the reward yet, right? Am I able to blow up an account and still be able to pay my rent, right? Like that's what you need to be able to ask yourself. Can I recover? Do I have the ability to put more money in and be able to do this over again if something does go wrong and I have, a really bad week and things happen? Because if the answer is no to any of those questions and you can't sustain, and this isn't just like fun money that you're playing around with, then you should be on a prop account. It doesn't make sense not to be. Right? Like you really got to have that honest conversation with yourself of like where you're at in your journey. All right, so Russell continuing to lead up into our VWAP and value edge. This is either where we trap buyers into these highs on both NQ and ES, or we recover and then continue to pop with higher lows. So we are really watching to see what happens here, because if NQ is now willing to hold our 520, we go up and we revert back up to 540, and then we do our upper balance rotation. If we trap here, we need to see a very clear hold from our, right, basically a trap into these highs, and then a look back below this POC here for continuation down for us to have validity and a downside move, basically trapping these buyers here, trying to get us back into this range. So it is a really important level, and we're going to be watching to see what happens into our Russell VWAP for that move to occur. Because again, if we recover our balance low here, this being our balance, right? So if we recover this low and are back inside our daily value, we should expect that we're going to revert back up to POC. That is just what happens on a profile. So it is very important here to see if we're going to be able to hold this level, or we're trapping off of a failure to get back above value, and then we look back below and then hold that as resistance. So you're kind of in a void right now, a no man's land, and we're waiting to see what happens. What we want to see happen, in my opinion, is Russell reject here and then do this as our rotation to allow us to then get a really nice trade on NQ. right? We want to stay within this region, right? Our value low to value high. And we want to then revert back down, giving us a very clear idea of where our buyers and sellers are and where we should be looking for risk. So because Russell is here, I'm looking to see if this is going to be our sell. And I will be then looking for price to then revert back down to this zone down here. And then this gives us where we should be kind of like putting on risk and taking off risk. But we'll see what happens. I'm just watching to see our reaction at VWAP here. Again, like this looks to me like balance and a very clear rotation, but we have to see what our Russell interaction is. And we should look, because we're up into these highs, for that weakness on NQ and ES, which is what we're seeing now, right? So that's just a reason where I start to look of like, okay, this is where we should expect traps to potentially occur. Now let's see what we do. Also going through your trades. Yeah, no, it's like incredibly important, like Club said, to identify and journal your trades and your mentality as you're trading, and like seeing what was actually a good trade, what was a bad trade, what's actually an emotional trade, what's a mechanical trade, what's a discretionary trade, right? You have to do a lot of work and analyzing of your on a daily basis until you can like really start to build out your playbook. So you won't give much importance to the nodes in between the value areas? I would say that they have different levels of importance, right? It just depends. Like we care much more about our value edges than like an individual node that's kind of forming in the moment, but it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. Just as like a, hey, this is where a participant is now attempting to shift value, right? Like it's a we can consider a node like a potential area of interest, but we should recognize that our larger nodes are where more and most of the volume has been traded on the day, right? So I care much more about our overall value structure, because that's where 70% of the volume has been traded on the day. And so if that starts to shift and we start to see us building outside of that distribution, right at the tails, that's a pretty good sign that we are going to be expanding in a direction. And that's something that I care much more about than like a little bit of a node that's forming at any given point. So yeah, I would say that the individual little nodes that build out aren't of like huge importance to me. It's more about like finding out where our overall structure is on the day, and then using footprint to show us where those market orders are stepping in on an individual to individual candle basis, which I separate the market into 15-minute increments. So this is a 15-minute footprint chart specifically for that, right? So now I'm watching to see, like, do we trap into our highs on a look back into our zone low, right? Because like if this zone holds as resistance, this is where I'm looking for those buyers to get trapped. And then I'm watching for price then to open below this area to show us that that trap was indeed real, right? And then step us down, just like we talked about. Like those things are much more important to me, and like being able to recognize where those areas are by identifying where our overall value structure is much more beneficial than trying to be like, oh well, there's a little bit of volume here, I need to now care, right? Like, okay, well, our overall shape on the day is here, and like we're building out this node, and this makes a lot of sense to look for that short or that continuation down, right? Because what we're doing right now is we're shifting value, right? So this is where our value was, this distribution here between this zone and this zone. And what we're doing now is we're building out this lower structure and we're shifting value down, right? So now we're building out a node in between here and here. So our value structure has shifted, right? This distribution from up here is now shifting downwards, and we're now building out a distribution between these two nodes. So now I have two zones to be playing around, where I know that if we can't recover this low and we continue to hold this, that I should be looking for more downside. But let's say we step back over this then becomes my risk for these rotations back up through our previous distribution. I know that if we're now holding we've recovered our value low, that we should then be looking for POC and value high. That's just how profiles work, right? If we get back into our value and then we see a buyer step in and show that area as interest, then we know that the buyer from our previous auction is back and that we should rotate through that previous auction. When I talk about an auction, I'm talking about like POC to value high, our value low, POC, and value high. So I just separate the market into like these areas of balance, and I'm just looking for like either recoveries or rejections of these areas to take place, because we know that if we could recover our value low, that price is most likely going to trade to POC, and if we can recover and hold POC, price is most likely then going to travel to value high. We just expect that auction to take place and those areas of interest to kind of like hold. But if we continue to see a failure to get back over value, we should expect then continuation down, because that is a very clear shift of our value. All right, let me see if I can find a visual aid to just help that understanding. So this is like a pretty basic but clear kind of chart of what I was just talking about. So I look at the market in basically distributions, in D-shaped distributions, right, where we have a very clear distribution between our buyers and our sellers, and I separate the market into multiple distributions on the day, because the market's doing one of two things almost always. It's either at rest, right, where it's balanced in between, or it's in motion, which is expanding, right, which is pushing in a direction outside of value. So if we can determine if the market is at rest or is in motion, we can then segment our areas, our market into, right, this structure. And so what I try to do is create these areas of balance to allow us to then know where price is going to trade. And then this is kind of our formula, where if we're below value outside of our balance, we should look at that as a rejection area for a short and continuation down. But if we recover it, then we should be looking for trades where we can look for a long at our value edge from a look below and then look above. We then look at that as supportive for rotations up to POC and then value high, right? And if we're above value, we then look for this to be supportive for expansion outward, right? And if we're outside of value and we're coming back down to our value high, we should look at that as a supportive hold. But if we look back in from outside, right? So if this price doesn't hold here and we look below value, I am then going to be watching for shorts from our value high, and then I'll be looking for rotations through value. So this is kind of like the basis, the foundation for a lot of our trading, is just
this understanding of how price moves within a distribution, right? Understanding what kind of trades we're looking for, and this creates both our risk structure as well as our targets that we will be targeting based off of what price is doing around value, our value structure. And then what we do is then separate the market into these areas of balance, right? Like I was just talking about. So if we know that price trades in that way, then we'll be looking to then separate the market into these distributions. And we know that as price, right, we have our price from earlier. So as we kind of move, this distribution is going to get larger. And so like our singular distribution that we were trading earlier is turning into a much larger distribution. And so like this value is going to shift, but we can segment it into this structure and create these profiles and then decide how we're going to trade around it. And by doing this, it kind of limits our risk and limits where we're taking trades only at our edges. And then being able to have plans in place of what we're looking for around said structure, making our trades much more mechanical rather than emotional. That just like keeps me sane and keeps me in trades because nothing has changed structurally in what we're looking for, right? Um, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I kind of just think of our nodes as magnets, right? And I expect price to either revert to a previous area of interest if we don't show any ability to expand, or I expect price to right, like again, like the market is in one of two states. It is either in motion or at rest, right? And so as long as we understand which state the market is in, we understand where we're kind of headed and what we should be looking for. And then we then just have trade strategies that we've developed out for both of those market conditions. So if we know that the market's in balance, on we know how to trade that, right? We know where we're looking for interest. We know that we should be looking to take off risk into these lows. We should be putting on risk into these highs, and that we should expect the market to kind of continue to trade in this very, very clear D profile, very clear around this value. I don't know, what was that sound, by the way? That Tom must have been. I don't know if you guys heard that. But yeah, it's just like it's a understanding of like where price is currently trading and where we should be looking for it. It takes a while to get used to. But once you kind of get it down and you've built out strategies around it, you'll start to be able to kind of focus on the micro and macro of it, right? Like the smaller, shorter term auctions, which is what we're trading, and then the higher time frame understanding of we are in a larger trend to the downside with our offer lowering, right? We're trading outside of our previous area of balance from this morning. We have seen a very clear offer shift down. So our bias should be to the downside, and we should be looking for sellers to be moving this offer lower slowly. But in between our higher time frame shift to the downside, we should expect that the market is going to be shifting its balance lower and that it's not going to be a straight shot down. We should be expecting these micro rotations, I guess is the best way you can put it, as we're doing that. So you have like two options when you look at it. I'm really trying to not confuse you by overwhelming. But like the way that your options are, if we know we're in a higher time frame downtrend, you can stay in your short from our original location, which is our 50 to 60, because we haven't invalidated that. And then you can just be playing these pivots right? Allowing you to load more of that position, right? So then our flip of our 20 to 30 is another area where we loaded from our 50 to 60 from this morning. And then we loaded again at 20 to 30. And that allows you to then build out a position, or you can just be playing the micro rotations, right? And have a bias of which way you should be looking to trade. If we know we're in a higher time frame downtrend, we can then be looking for a shorts and then looking to risk off into these lows, but not looking to long the lows for this push up because the downtrend is intact on the higher time frame. So we should be looking for this offer to lower. So it makes much more sense to look for the downside movement than the upside because we have a understanding that the overall trend on the day is down, right? So we're much more inclined to take this short than we are to take this long. This just becomes where we look to risk off, if anything. So that's kind of like how I focus in on what I'm doing. Is I trade like more micro rotations of balance in our overall auction, and then my bias is formed by our higher time frame trend. It depends. I tend to on balance days, I tend to enter with basically full size because our risk is very clear, right? Our risk is here, our risk is here. So I can just have limits placed on our edges and a very clear invalidation at our edges, and then it allows me to then just play with limits between our rotations in the chop, right? On trend days, I tend to average in or pyramid in, but I don't average down in pyramid. That's kind of like a difference, I would say, is we have very clear invalidation structurally, and I'm just looking to build out positions. So it just depends on the day type. If I feel like the risk is worth it and we're in a more volatile market, then I will look to add in segments. But if we're in very clear balance, then I just have limits set, because then I'm just playing our balance rotations and that's my risk, right? It's a very clear set of risk. When volatility increases, right, my stops are going to get wider and my size is going to get smaller, but I will be adding into that for continuation just because I'm looking for higher lows or lower highs. When volatility is larger, I'm going to be looking for that trend continuation. But when volatility is very compact or compressed and we're in very tight ranges, I'm looking to only interact at my edges, and there isn't really a great opportunity to pyramid in or to kind of like to build out positions because we're looking for very clear and limited trades at that trading opportunities, right? Just only at our edges of our value. So then like this is our rotation, right? We're only looking for that as our risk. And so you have the opportunity when we know that we're in balance to then take profit and take off risk in between these areas. Building out this position here, we're just giving back money by building this out over and over again. So why not just take, the free 20 points repeatedly when we have a very clear invalidation of when our trade is wrong? That's kind of how I see it. And like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but it works more than it doesn't, and so it's a profitable strategy. It just again it's you have to build out different day type strategies and have an understanding of what we're trading in and why what you're looking for is going to happen, right? It's never just like, oh, we're here so I'm selling, right? It's never like, oh, we're at our magic line so we're buying. We look at these areas of interest that we've built out on our screen, right? Our areas matter, and these are where we've seen past interactions. Now what we're looking for is for our order flow, our current order flow, to show us that these areas are still of interest. And if they are, we then know how to trade around this zone that we've mapped out, right? So we're still looking for real order flow to guide us, but we have our map that we've put out on our chart to allow us to then know where price is most likely going to trade if these zones still are showing as key areas of interest for our actual buyers and sellers who are moving the market. I don't have a ton of faith in the seller, guys. We'll see what happens, but Russell maintaining, we're gonna need to see RTY really start to slam here on our retest into view up, or I expect bid to try to actually push us here. I don't know, we'll see. This market is very slow right now. But what we do know is that POC from our previous candle is at our low. We can see on ES that we are slowly moving up here and holding POC as supportive, which are all signs that we're in a short-term right side of V. I'm just really kind of just watching to see if we can recover this as our pivot and rotate back up, or if seller is going to have some balls and actually be able to continue us down. But I need to see it first, like I said, or I'm expecting that the bid will start to take over from the lack of sell pressure at our lows. Yeah, I mean, you can call it manipulation if you want. I don't like that word. I think that it's a bit derivative. I think it's just kind of like an easy way to kind of like brush things to the side. It's just lunchtime, right? So like we should expect lower volume and we should expect more of a balanced auction. And with the lower volatility and the lower volume, we should expect that the participants who have larger sizes are able to push price in the direction that they care about a little bit more because there's less people standing in their way. But we shouldn't how do I put this? We should expect that when that volatility and that volume steps back in, that this kind of like midday auction doesn't have a ton of merit on what happened in the morning and into the afternoon, right? It's we understand that there's kind of a pause, and that with that decrease in volatility and volume, that we should expect the market to kind of come to a standstill and kind of rotate a bit more instead of go in a particular direction, right? We should just expect balance. It's balance. So we have already kind of like set up our areas of interest, and with that lack of participation at our lows, we should expect that if sellers aren't inclined to push price lower and buyers are still operating into that low, that we will start to look to see if there's any interest above, right? Like it's just an auction. So if people are unwilling to sell lower, or right, like then we're gonna go up. And if people are unwilling to buy higher, then we're gonna go down until we find that area again where we come to an equilibrium between buyers and sellers, and price operates within that structure. So it's just an auction. I don't believe in algorithms. No, I definitely do. We have like an entire algorithmic wing of our platform that's all algo trading. But I believe in algorithms that like I understand how the algorithms work, and I don't have like this retail stigmata of like the algorithms are out to get me personally to affect my trade, and oh, the algos stopped me out, right? Like no, that's not what's happening. I'm not wrong. It's the market that's wrong, right? It's like as soon as you start to like think like that and you start to talk like, oh, the algos are out to get me, and like you like kind of deplete your own edge by talking like that, because now uh you aren't um you are pushing blame for your trading mistakes and the things that you either were unable to see, or your bad risk management, or your bad understanding of what was actually happening in the market, your lack of edge, basically. And you're pushing that blame onto this ghost, right? This algorithm who's out to get you. And I think when you start to think like that, you lose a lot of your edge and your credibility. And you can start to push that blame and not learn from your mistakes, right? So there's like I definitely understand that there's algorithmic trading and high frequency trading, but as soon as you start to kind of be like an ICT where you're like, oh, the algo stopped me out, they're out to get me, you lose a lot of credibility in my opinion, and you lose a lot of your edge overall for yourself, because now you're not willing to look back on your past trades and be like, oh no, I'm just an idiot, or like, oh no, I thought I saw something that was what I thought was clear in our order flow, but it actually invalidated, right? Like it didn't have any merit. We didn't do what it needed to do. Those buyers who were present there, those sellers who were trapped there, we didn't have follow through on that idea. And so like if I continue to have that bias of that idea that I was looking for, and I'm unwilling to reevaluate later on, then I'm screwing myself over, and I'm going to continue to make those same mistakes, and I'm going to be unwilling to stop out of that trade that I thought was going to happen because I'm so focused on this bigger ghost entity that's out to get me, instead of me, who is my own worst enemy and who I'm actually trading against, my mental, right? My emotional side that's always there. And I need to be always like very cognizant of like I'm trading against myself and my emotional bias always, right? Like I need to keep that in check. And so as soon as I form these like figures who are out to get me, I start to really mess up. That might not be for everyone, right? But I know from personal experience that like as soon as I start to think that like the manipulation is so vast and so apparent that I'm unable to trade, it's like, okay, well, like you just admitted that you have no edge. And that like then if you've admitted that and that there's no edge, then like why are you trying to short-term trade? You have no edge. Just long S&P 500 and go live your life. Because clearly like if there's someone that's out to get you, then you shouldn't be doing this. Right? It's it goes both ways. Sorry, I'm ranting today. Got some good rants out of me today. Yeah, sure. How old are you and how long have you been trading? I am 31. Ugh. And I've been trading for at this point 9.5 years. And I guess. But futures only like two. Before that, I was doing options, and before that, I was doing stocks. We did a big pivot away from options trading, or options scalping, I should say, shorter term frame options, and flipped to futures because it made a lot more sense. Because a lot of the people that we were talking with, our our members, didn't have the ability to do short-term scalping on options. They just didn't have the funds in their account to make it work. So switching over to futures, where there is there no it just made a lot more sense, um, while still being able to trade leverage. But we yeah, made way more sense. I think it's just Twitter. I think that's why a lot of people start in options, is that they see the ability to make a lot of large short-term gains, and they like the leverage, right? And they think of it as like a very easy way to make money without understanding that options were created to hedge, right? They were created as a hedging tool. And same thing with futures, really, but they're a way to hedge your actual stock positions and build out strategies with limited risk. And so they don't have a broad understanding of how options work and the decay that's built into them. And I think a lot of people focus on like those short-term gains and making money very quickly with leverage. And once they see that it's a bit harder, and they you'll have a couple really good trades, and then you'll get burned because you're just trading like way too short term, and the decay just eats at you. But I think that's why it's just the leverage. I think it makes complete sense. I think like one of the worst things that you can do for yourself is like be a one leg zero DTE options trader. Like I think like the risk is just insane there. Like I think that's what a lot of retail was trying to do for a while. Um, and they like it can work if you're very good. But when you over leverage into those positions, you tend to blow up your account, right? So like it requires really great risk management and contract sizing, because like you're going to be wrong occasionally on zero DTEs, right? You can't be right on all of them. And if you're over leveraging and over positioning, um, you're going to end up blowing up your gains very quickly with options, because again, like things expire worthless most of the time. And so like if you're oversizing, all of a sudden your account's dunzo because of you're gambling, and that's where you run into some big issues. So that's why I really preach risk management and sizing, and like the slow and steady pace, rather than trying to double your money with each trade. So new 15s have opened. We are holding our POC of our previous candle on NQ. We're just watching to see how we interact here at this 20. If this can continue to find our bid to step back up into our previous balance area, or if this is going to fail, right? And we're going to absorb into this and then start to sell again to the downside. I've already mentioned that we are in a slight uptrend with higher lows. Russell still maintaining our balance, still showing no interest over VWAP and our value high. We're just watching to see our interaction here on NQ, right? Can we maintain this POC to value low here and hold this for a pop and hold over 30s for rotations up? Or do they continue to absorb into this 20 to 30, fail, push us down, and then do we rotate this lower structure? I don't have an answer for you yet. I'm just waiting to see how this plays out. ES is at POC on our daily. We held our value edge here at 64 and are rotating up. We're watching to see if this 20 to 30 can continue to hold. If it can, then we can look for upside. If it fails, we know that we will trap here and that we then will rotate down, most likely taking out our low at 500 from the trapped trader that's here. So just a waiting game right now for me. You're still short. I'm flat right now, Glock. I closed out my last contract, just waiting for direction. I think the short definitely could work, but I'm just waiting. I stopped out at 24 on my final contract. I still think short is definitely in play, and I'll look to reload if this seller steps back in here at R20 on our look below and then hold. But I don't want to be just in a choppy area while we wait. Right, because what we're going to be looking for is how we interact here at this like 10 to 12. You should then look for a bid to step in here at our value edge, and then we look for a retest into 20. This is where I'll look to short again if we don't hold here. This is our value low of our previous, right? So I'm watching for our interaction into this area. All right, let me highlight it on footprint here. I'm watching for an interaction here, and then I'm looking to see if we then find a lower a bid here, and then an offer at a lower point to then let us know that we want to continue downward. I don't think that there's anything wrong staying in a short from that 20 to 30 edge, right? Like your risk wise, like this is still the trade. But I've already played this to the downside and let it fully come back up onto me, so I didn't take it again. Right, but like nothing is invalidated mechanically. And again, like Russell, I think is just doing this full move where this is our high, and then we're just rotating back down to our low. So like bias wise, nothing has changed. I just expect a much clearer reoffer before we go down. What do they say in the chat support club? All right, so let's watch this re-offer here at Glock. We just held our value low on their daily, popped. So we're gonna watch our 20 edge here to see if an offer sticks. Same thing on ES into POC. right? We're watching to see from our value edge if we now hold this as a lower high for our short-term trend or continuation down, or if this fails and we then continue to go up. I don't have a clear understanding yet, but this is where I'm going to be watching for it. Do you use delta difference? Um, you're talking about like a delta histogram, which shows you like the delta difference per candle. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, it depends on the day, but yeah, I think that's a good way to find reversals. Kind of like where our lows and highs are, because you can see we've gone over this before, but usually if you're looking at like a delta grid, so let's say our delta grid as we're pushing down, we should see basically a spike. How do I put this? You'll see something like this on delta into a low on our delta grid, where we have like volume kind of stepping in, and then like we start to like peter out, and then we'll see a bit of a spike here into our actual low, and then we'll see a shift in our direction of our delta from negative to positive as we start to make this reverse. And I think that that can be really big to kind of determine where those reversals are occurring. I don't watch it all that much these days, but I think that it definitely has a use for this, for watching where these kind of like tapers and then this expansion, our delta starts to step in the positive from our negative. Especially when we have confirmation in our lows like this on this candle, like we have right now. But that's mostly what I was using it for when I was using. The giveaway will be at 1 Eastern. This lens.
Good morning, everybody.
Yo, what's up?
Not much. Not much. And just, it looks like how it looked yesterday.
Yeah. Is what it is.
Yep. Actually, yesterday probably looked a little better. Actually, had good rotations, but it was like, can you wait the hour to trade the rotation?
Yes, yeah. I've used it to give me confidence that the sellers with me. I think that's good. Whatever real edge you can prove and incorporate into your strategy, to as like a variable is great. Do what works for you. Sure. Here, let me see if I can find an example of what I was just. I think this is a good example. I just told you it's at 1 Eastern. All right, I'm gonna take this off my screen. Okay, hopefully that's helpful.
Have you fully rolled everything?
Yeah, the volume is like
Yeah.
absolute trash today.
Yesterday I was like running like the double dom setup and stuff, and it's like, yeah, just
Hell no.
get over to Z.
Yeah. I mean, even with like the with what they're saying the volume and open interest is, like it still feels bad.
Yeah.
It's even though like the volume on you 82K and the volume on Z was like 327K, it still feels pretty similar for
Yeah.
I hate roll week. Worst.
Yeah.
Well, 30 seconds till new 15s. Just watching our interaction here off of another failure to look above 30. Watching to see if offer is able to hold here into our 20s. Or if there's going to be any sort of shift, right? We're still just holding our value low on our daily. And until we can pop below that from a lower high, I'm not incredibly interested in trading this, personally. Watching to see what happens here into our new 15. I'm profitable, but losing emotions at some points get me revenge trade and any advice. I mean, yeah, I got a lot of advice, but uh it's like I mean, like all of it's gonna come down to self-control if you right like it's very hard for me to give you personal advice that isn't just gonna be like this cookie cutter stuff that you've already heard. And it comes back to what we were talking about earlier about like knowing yourself and knowing how you trade. I think like the first step that you need to do is start journaling every day, especially when you start to recognize that you are emotionally trading, right? Like as soon as you start to feel it, like you need to go back and review that day of being like, okay, well, why what went wrong, right? Because like the first thing that you can do is like again, like you need to realize like you are going to emotional trade, right? Like that's just it happens. It is what it is. But what we can do is try to do as much prevention as possible, right? So we want to be able to prevent you from getting into that situation in the first place. So the way that we do that is by journaling your trades that got you into that state and showing and figuring out what were the primary reasons why you lost your previous trades and why you're so sure that you were right and continue to try to take that trade over and over and over again that then get you into that FOMO state, right? We want to be in prevention first. And so that's going to be needing you to analyze and look at your losses and look at the trades where you start to get emotional and look at your and be able to in the moment then, right, from looking back at your past trades to then in the moment be able to recognize that you're getting into that state and creating safeguards for yourself in how you trade and how you interact with the market so that you then can prevent yourself from doing that in the future, right? It's all about prevention because it's going to happen. But if we can create some safeguards in the way of being like, oh, okay, like I've now lost 2 trades in a row. I need to force myself to now not trade anything for, 30 minutes or an hour or for the rest of the day. It depends on like who you are as an individual. But like you need it's a personal thing that you need to work on because we all have different brains and we have different ways that we cope and we do things. So like you need to be able to recognize that within yourself, and that comes from having accountability, right? And the only way that you gain accountability is by being real with yourself and analyzing your past mistakes and your past successes and actually figuring out where the causation, right? Like that's the biggest thing. Like it's the only way you're ever going to actually get better is by actually being accountable to yourself. We're never right 100% of the time, but if you can prevent some of your stupid losses, all of a sudden your win rate and your profitability goes up quite a bit. And the way that you do that is by analyzing. I no one wants to hear that, but like it's the truth. Right? Because like you have to remember, like your win rate, like you're making profitable trades. The way that you become more profitable is cutting out your stupid trades that you're taking that are cutting into your profitability. Like you don't need more edge. You just need to take away the moronic trades that you're taking in between your good trades. So if we can cut those in half, cut your emotional trades in half, all of a sudden your profitability is exponential, right? It grows a lot without you having to change anything in your strategies. All you need to do is actually practice proper risk management. If you're actually cutting where you need to, right? If trades are actually invalidating and you're stopping out where they need to, your risk profile is probably pretty solid. So all we need to do is get you to be accountable to yourself and get your emotions in check, right? By actually stopping out and following your plan. And then you become a much more profitable trader without really having to do much on the other end. Again, it's all accountability. If you need an accountability partner and you can't do it by yourself, that's something that you need to recognize in yourself, right? If that's, having a friend that you talk with, that you're completely honest with your trading and being like, look, I had a bad day. It is what it is. This is what I did wrong, right? And like having a little bit of a Discord room where you're recapping. If that's something that you need, then recognize that, right? Like that's how you're going to improve. And it's going to suck short term, right? No one likes feeling like they're not as good or they're not living up to what they need to be. But you need to recognize what you need and what you need to do to get better. And continuing to ignore that and try to lie to yourself and just continue to make the same mistakes over and over again is not how you're going to improve. A really hard conversation to have with yourself. But like it's the number one reason why you're failing, right? And why everyone's failing. It's not just a you thing.
I think that like what you said at the beginning though is the easiest thing. Where if you're like hypercritical with like how you're tagging and journaling, it becomes very easy to see the when and where of mistakes. But you
Yeah.
have to be like willing to do that work and like actually do it where it's like to the most minuscule detail, because then you can recognize it. If you're not doing it, you'll never find the pattern.
Yep.
It just isn't really possible.
Yeah, it's gonna take you like 2 more years of struggle without that.
Yeah.
Which you could like what we're talking about is how you actually do incremental improvement. Whereas like if you don't do this, and you're just like, fuck it, right? Like, we'll get it eventually. Like, all you're doing is dragging out your development time, right? The amount of time you're going to be struggling and emotionally trading and potentially giving up and never actually becoming profitable because you're refusing to do the work. And so now it becomes this really long process where you are emotionally and mentally and I don't know, physically draining yourself, right? Like your actual capital, to a point where you might give up before you actually become profitable because you were unwilling to do the work. And so, like, again, it's just one of those things where, like, if you treat this as a job and you treat this as something that you need to get better at and an actual skill set, like, there are things that you can do to practice. But if you just want to, like, hop in here every day and not do any of the real work, you're gonna have a really hard time, right? You're going to be your incremental improvement is going to be in much longer time frames than someone who's analyzing their actions on a daily basis and trying to improve. What is the app or medium free for journaling? A lot of our members just they make their own little like Discord server and then separate their trades into, they have like a couple different sections where they'll write down like their trading strategies and then they'll do journaling on an individual day and keep like a log. I think Notion is also a great option. I think just like an Excel or like Google Docs spreadsheet is great. That's what I did. But there are a lot of like journaling apps. I think the prop firms at this point have really nice like journaling built into their platforms. But we're also kind of working on one well, but nothing that I can share at the moment. But yeah, there are a lot of free tools. I think, yeah, I mean, like Smooth Operator just said, you want to make it as easy as possible to be accountable, right? So whatever is going to be the easiest way for you to actually continue to be effective, and actually do it on a daily basis is what you should do. So whatever is going to um, fit within your already kind of like developed lifestyle, you should do that for you. I find that when I try to change too much, too fast, that I never stick with it, right? So like if it's already something that you're active on, like a platform you're already active on, you're more likely to actually do it. So I think that's why a lot of people go with Discord. Something that I recommend to do, and I have a video on, is recording your screen as well. So what you can do is set up a um, private live stream to yourself on YouTube, and you can save and a recording of your session that only you can see, right? And you have unlimited storage on YouTube, and then you can then mark your trades and be able to see exactly what you're doing and go back and watch those areas. I think that's incredibly effective. There's a video on our YouTube going over that, and how to set up a way to have a hotkey that will mark our timestamp. You can basically click a timestamp or a hotkey on your keyboard or your mouse, whatever you want, of when you're taking a trade, so that when you go back and look at the footage, it'll then create those timestamps on your videos that you then can just like go from point A to point B to point C, right? Like your trades, and go and look at them on your recording on OBS. I think that's a pretty effective strategy if you're actually serious about this. Yeah, and I get that. Again, it's all about knowing yourself. You just have to, if you're gonna be private, right, and not share it with anyone, if you're unwilling to kind of like have a mentor or have an accountability buddy, it's just really important that you continue to be accountable, right? It's very easy when you're by yourself and you don't have anyone to be accountable with, to go back into old habits. There's a channel in our Discord called Trade Reviews that a lot of people use to do exactly that, to be accountable. They'll post their trades, their thought process, their emotions, and you can have a little community there where the more that people are open there, the more likely other people are going to post and be honest with themselves, and then you guys get better together, right? When everyone's just lying about what they're doing and the trades that they're taking or not taking, it's going to be very hard to get better. Yeah, true. And I think like journaling without creating a playbook is kind of also not really great. I think your first step to is developing out your playbook, so that you know what a good trade actually looks like and something that you're looking to take on a daily basis. Like you have a plan, right? Because journaling without a plan is like, okay, yeah, like I took this trade and it lost. Like, okay, it is what it is. Like, I don't know how to fix it, right? But if you have structure that you're then journaling around, I think that's much more effective. So like your first thing that you should be doing is going finding examples of trades that you really like to take on a daily basis or a weekly basis, whatever it is, right? Things that you look for, and then try to label those trades with a name, right? Try to, and as well as also a ranking, right? Like a grade. Like, is this an A plus setup? Is this a B setup? Is this a C setup? What are the variables in this trade that I usually look for? And then when you have that information, when you go to journal, you can be like, you can categorize the trades in your journal of like, this is this is my reversal setup, and these are the variables. This is the criteria that it met in this setup, and this is how it ended up playing out, and this is where it invalidated. This is what I should have done, right? But without that playbook and without that knowledge already in place, it's going to be very hard for you to journal effectively, because you don't actually know what a good setup is and what is edge and where you didn't have edge. So I think it's really important that you do that work first, so that you actually have some plays that you can then reference when you're And that's something that we preach quite a bit and teach as well on our Monday classes with the membership. We have like full on modules of trades and plans and ideas of like things that you can attempt, as well as all of we go over the variables and the structure and all of that. But it's something you can definitely do on your own. Don't care about that.
Hey guys,
So
Hello, Tom.
I think I'm ready. I'm just trying to find my stream link
okay.
for Twitch. And then do you want me to stream here or are you just gonna stream right off my Twitch?
I will. You should stream in Discord, and then I will watch your stream and put it on my stream.
Okay, we can do that. Why is it so hard to find my stream link?
Yeah, you are very quiet, Tom.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, Braveheart. I think that's a great idea. Or like, again, like either putting it on Twitter or joining like a Discord group like ours, or another one. It doesn't matter. But like actually posting the trades that you're taking in your thought process and your ideas. Just having you like remember. You're anonymous on Discord, man. Like it doesn't matter. You can change your name at any point. You can leave the Discord at any time. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. But putting it out there and having that accountability partner and willingness to try to improve, like no one's gonna shit on you. Just do it. That's how you grow, right? Be a part of a community. It's the easiest way to grow is being open and honest in a community and actually be willing to show your mistakes and show your improvement. It's so much harder to grow individually than within a community. The members that we see have the greatest levels of improvement are the ones that post their trades and are posting like what their ideas were. They're being honest with themselves. They're trying to become better, right? And like they sucked at first and it is what it is, but they've gotten much better over time. And that only makes sense, right? Because they're willing to be open and accountable.
All right, I got the link. I'm not sure if I'm quiet because of
You're good
Discord
now.
or okay. All right, I put the link in the YouTube. You guys will have to join the Twitch stream to join, and then we're gonna do 10 races. Each race should take about a minute or two, and then we'll do 2 giveaways. Whoever comes in first and whoever comes in last will win a 50K Tradeify account.
First and last.
First and last, because it's also impressive to come in last in this.
That's true.
And we're gonna find a better system for this later on. So this is just experiment for today. You won't have to be on 2 platforms. Eventually.
Yeah, there's a way to do it on YouTube, but it's like you got to do a whole bunch of things to get it to work. So just for today, we'll do it this way, and then me and you maybe over the weekend can experiment for next week. But yeah, join. Type in the Twitch stream. Just type !play, and it will add you to the stream. Once everyone kind of gets caught up, we'll start this here in a second, and then once we start, it'll go pretty fast.
For those that are looking to trade right now, you're watching to see if 20 to 30 can hold as supportive for a rotation of our upper structure. So with our 30 edge holding right now, we are looking for rotations to POC above, just to make sure that we're still looking for this trade idea up the flip of our balance.
This course looks crazy.
Guys, you need to join the twitch.tv link that was posted in chat for the exclamation mark play to work. I'm sorry, it's a little scuffed. Posting it in YouTube will not do anything.
I'll give everyone a second if they need to make a. I don't know if you need to make a Twitch account or not. I imagine you do,
Yeah.
so I'll give it a few minutes.
You need to join the Twitch channel that Tom is putting. Yeah, so scuffed. Join this and put exclamation mark play when you sign.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a little wonky.
It's free to create an account on Twitch. We'll give you a minute to do it. No big deal.
Ryan's trolling you. I know him. He's a certified troll. Is that 77 people or 17? 17. Okay, 17 so far. I see 40 people on YouTube, so that means we're missing at least half of you. What's the key? Should we get some music going while we wait?
People aren't gonna this Twitch thing. I'm gonna just
Twitch is too hard for people? Or is it just annoying to have to do two platforms?
probably a bit of both.
Understandable, Brock. We'll figure it out for YouTube next time. We'll have to do this for today, but next time we'll get it on YouTube. There's like a really roundabout way you have to do it to get it on YouTube. All right, we'll start here in just a few more minutes. You have to play all 10 races in order to qualify, because you can't just join the last race and get last place. Yeah, you can still watch, absolutely. Should still be entertaining. All right, I think we got pretty much who we're gonna get here. So if you want to throw the stream up, we'll get this started.
Okay.
For the first time, a desire to be last. Oh, that's right. Let me get some music going.
This is your final warning that if you want to be part of the giveaway, you need to join the Twitch stream and type !play in the Twitch stream to join. Not do it on YouTube.
Can you hear the music?
I mean, I can't. I'm not watching it.
Muted. Yeah, you can, Tom.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right, I'm starting the countdown. All right, countdown has started. Let's see what we got here. Oops. All right. Camera locked in and ready to go. Got our TFC music going in the background. Good luck, everybody. May your balls roll fast. And we're off. Looks like I am in first. I cannot win, so it doesn't matter.
There's a delay on stream.
Oh, there is, yeah, because we're doing on YouTube. Okay. Well, right now, RJM is in first. Dirty Red kind of tossed in the meat grinder here. Let's see who gets out of it. Got her coming around the corner here. Cyclops in the lead, followed by Lolo Bags. Got a pretty good lead. Map Oil. What's going to go on here? Ooh, is that a teleporter? Where'd they go? Oh, they're teleporting up here. Okay. I've never played this map before. Trying some new ones today. Rolling the lucky dice. Ooh, some people are dying. People falling off the screen.
This is first PT, by the way. If you're playing the flip of 20 to 30 into our 40, should be looking for 50, I believe, for full reversion trade, but we'll see. Offer is sitting here at 41.
Looks like I pulled in the lead here. What just happened? Did I just die? Oh, here we go. Okay. These teleporting maps are weird, hard to follow. That looks like there's like a 10 or 15-second delay on YouTube. So if you're following, just watch on Twitch if you're doing that anyways. So one trader taking the lead, followed by a Strifle. Oh, we're getting tons of mix-ups here. I'm actually... Oop, Gecko pulled in the league, it looks like. Oh. Apparently the camera doesn't have clipping. I imagined it would. Oh, you got to score a goal. Okay. Okay, I think Day Gecko got first place there.
Huge. Now it's a competition for last.
Yep. Well, you have to. It's 10 races, so one race doesn't matter. It's a Grand Prix. So
Okay.
Yeah. Did
Wait, if you miss the goal, you die. That's unlucky.
why is like my Twitch stream
Sports.
seems like it's like I think my Twitch stream is not
It
working
seems
correctly.
stuck. Maybe it was. That's when I said it was lagging, but I think it might just be kind of like stuck.
All right, let's see. Is there still someone here? All right, we'll fix it before the next race. All right, next map here. All right, let's see how we fix. Let me restart Twitch. Maybe maybe that'll work. All right, I'm gonna close my stream and restart it here real quick. What is? Yeah, I don't know why it's like frozen. It's just so weird. It's frozen on my OBS as well, so that's strange.
Yeah, I'm sorry, operator.
Hold on one second. Like, okay, so it's like showing my mouse moving around, but it's not showing the right thing on. That's so weird.
No, it's not over. He's having technical difficulties. I don't know what's
Technical
going on.
issues. Sorry.
No, it's literally it's just you just watch it, Kevin. It's a glorified RNG calculator with a movie.
With a movie.
All right, I'm gonna reload marbles. I think that might be the issue. Let's try it again. I'll do a shorter race too, since this is taking longer. We'll shorten it to like 5 races instead of 10, or maybe we'll just do 3. 3 sounds good. We'll
Yep.
just do 3. All right, let's try this one more time. There we go. It.
We can push over this 41. Should head up to that 50 edge, our value high. Just really watching to see if we can get a good bit of continuation. So far, holding our 15-minute POCs from our previous candles on both ES and NQ, which is a good sign for continuation up. We just need to show a bit more interest here. The bid is resting at 36 below. Offer resting into this 45 right now so far. Just watching to see if we get this grind up. Again, we are back in our upper balance off of a failure to maintain our lower balance.
All right, let's see if it's working now. All right, can you guys see it now? Does it look a little better?
You probably need to reload the Twitch.
Yes. All right, I think we're good. All right, we'll play Sig and Dapper's theme song now.
Can you stream on Discord, please?
Am I not streaming on Discord? My bad. My bad. All right. How's that?
Okay.
We good?
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Alright.
we're back.
Hey, we're back. This one looks like a Japanese-inspired map.
Oh,
So this is round 2 of 3. You need to rejoin the and do exclamation mark play in the Twitch thing if you want to play another round, I believe.
I had to restart, so that first round was a warm-up round, so that
Okay.
didn't count. So we'll do 3 rounds total. They should go pretty fast now. I'll start in 30 seconds.
Yep.
Well,
So if you want to join, go into the Twitch stream and do exclamation mark play. It's 3 rounds. You have to do that each round. Join. And I'm sorry it's so scuffed. It'll be better next time.
all right. I think we I think we had like 24 people, so I'll wait till
We'll
we
be
hit
right.
70. Turn the music down? Yeah, I can do that. Absolutely. Is that a little better? All right. Go ahead and type any of your cheat codes into the chat and let's get going. We'll start here in 60 seconds. So the countdown has started. Go ahead and apply lube to your ball, use the turbo boost, whatever you need to do. Good luck, everybody. $30 seconds left. Deflated opponent. 10 seconds. We got 28 peeps. 29. Someone's sneaking in there at the last second. Good luck. Here we go. It's like everyone's in the gutters here, just going down the building. this called like a pagoda style building, or what's the architecture type called of like the Japanese architecture? Is it pagoda? I feel like it's pagoda. Square architecture. Elon pulling off to a steady lead here, followed by Soloff, and I'm not going to attempt to say that last one. Elon with the huge. Oh, he bit off a little too much and killed himself. Kowalski followed by Tom Soundboard. Gonna zoom in here, see if we can get a little closer. Vicamos with the Hyperloop, followed by Tom Soundboard, which is not me, and Dirty Red. Lemon just died. Just had another Dirty died. Mayonnaise Unicorn died. Juan just took the lead. ASR just died. Man, this is a deadly track. Froze? I still see it going. Anyone else have it frozen? Okay. Juan getting back in the lead. Final stretch here. What are these? Are those bombs? Ooh, pistons. Did Juan just die? Tom Soundboard, followed by Blades an Idiot, and Broccolink. So you get points for finishing in the top one, so it's a collective of the points. So the higher you finish, the more points you get. So if you're shooting for last place, you basically want to die every time. Is Super Trader stuck up there? Looks like he's stuck up there.
It's the strat, I guess. Let's get stuck.
He died too. Oh, the fire got him. Yeah. If you get stuck, there's like a fire wave that comes and kills you. You can see it in the background. Here it comes. Is Map Oil going to get in, or is he going to get hit by the fire? I think it's going to be all right. All right. See the results from this race. So you can see here you get points for winning. Oh, it did include the points from last time, so we can include the points from the previous race, I suppose. I didn't realize it would keep them. All right. Dapper Dojo, Marble. Oh, it already picked. I thought it would let me pick. All right. I'm just gonna. You got 60 seconds to join. We're just gonna jump right next into the next one. So go ahead and type play in the Twitch stream. Give you a little preview over the 60 seconds. Looks like we got a wooden roller coaster here with some cannons. Ooh, you get shot out of a cannon. Landing. I don't know if you want to get shot out of the cannon. It seems like a good way to. Well, I guess if you're reloading for last place, sure. 30 seconds left to join. All right, here we go. Yeah, Green Ocean Trader. All you gotta do is type it in the same chat that you're typing in. Kowalski off to the early lead. He got caught up there. Gecko coming in strong. Could Gecko get his second win out of 3? That would almost guarantee him first place, I think. Could be wrong. Whoa! Some people hitting out of the cannons. Ooh, I thought Vekamos was going to get the cheat code all the way down. Super Trader just died again, making a strong contention for last place. Green, you gotta wait till the next race. The race already started. You didn't get in time. This race should be over in 30 seconds or so, and then we'll have our last race and give away some accounts. Ooh, could I take first place? Looking like it. Let's go, baby. Alright, so Bracco Inc., followed by Mabpoil, Kowalski, Man, and then that'll round out the top 10 there. Elon coming up in last place here. Let's see the fire coming. Why is it freezing? Oh, there we go. All right. One more race. On to the next map. Ooh, this one's pretty. Okay, so you don't want to go in the broken one, that's for sure. All right, so just type Green, just type exclamation play. You don't need the dollar sign or the pound sign behind it. Just like everyone else is typing. Just exclamation play. All right, start it up. You got 60 seconds. There you go. I see you in
This
there
is
now.
a cool map.
Yeah, very bluish. It's like tie-dye. Got 30 people in on this one. And we're off. ASR out to the early lead, but anything can happen in the whirlpool of death here. RJM just out there all by himself being lonesome. I don't think he's got a shot this time. Ooh, Sola. What's going on with you? Oh, you're down there. I thought it kind of looked like he was still in the bowl. Look at that lead he's got. I think if he doesn't die, he's got this one. Got a lot of obstacles coming up, though. See if we can get a good view here. What are those orange dots even for? They don't do anything. Ooh. Even got a good drop there. Another whirlpool here, or funnel. Could he get overtaken? Or is Solar going to be start to finish the leader? Soul off? Soul off. Oh my god. I think it's the computer I'm using. Might have to do it on my other computer next time. Final stretch. Can Braco get past him? Start to finish. Good job, Soloff. Alright, we'll rack up the points here at the end, and we'll see who we're giving the accounts away to. Thank you all for playing today. Sorry about the technical issues. We'll get this straightened up for next time. Should be a little more smooth. First time's always kind of figuring it out, right? Final results. So RJM came in last with total time of 2:54 with 0 wins. So that's how we figure out when there's a tie, is who took the longest. Congratulations, RJM. And overall, or how do we... Here. So it looks like... Why does it like... Here we go, points. So Brackalink had the most points. So RJM gets... Oh, wait, is that just for that race? That's just for that race, right? British Grand Prix. Let's see where we got here. All right, Bracco, give me a DM on Discord. We'll get you a account. And then in last place, we had... Played all of them. Actually, it was Elon. Elon, you were in last place. Sorry, RGM, I thought it was you, but according to this, who played all the races, it was Elon. I think it was just in that race particularly that you got last place. So Elon messaged me on Discord, and then Bracco messaged me on Discord. Thank you all for playing. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another giveaway.
Thank you, Tom.
Stub. All right, guys. I am just going to be watching this 20 to 30. It looks like we failed at 40s. Yes, no interest over our value edge on a look above. Got RTY testing our ETH low, trying to build. We're just watching to see if this 20 to 30 can maintain or if we look back below. It kind of looks like we want to revert, but we'll have to see. There's definitely a buyer here at 30. Just need to see if we can either flip below or if this will hold. I expect if 20 to 30 does hold, that we rotate up to 50s still. So just keep an eye on that. I'm going to be heading out of here soon, though. FYI. I'm going to watch to see if this trade works. Hold bottom of balance. If that doesn't, then I'm going to dip. And then I will be online tomorrow.
With the ES has a lot of two-sided trading over this 70. And the 73, there's like over 1,000 contracts on each sign. It's pretty stacked up here.
Not many, man. We took 50 to 60 short back down to 20 to 30 for 20 points. And then we shorted 20 to 30 for a move down to 500. And then we stopped out of, or I stopped out of my final contract on a look back over 30s. And then we flipped 20 to 30 while Tom was doing this. And we played that up to 40 for another 20 points. And now I'm flat waiting for a decision to be made. Feels like a reversion down to 20 seems very likely. And then we look for the bid to step back over 30s or offer to maintain below 20. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens here. I have to have a slight bull bias because Russell's holding value high. And that interests me. And we're seeing some two-sided trading down here with buyers willing to take in these sellers trying to shift value, but we have like pretty clearly have someone who's a bit screwed up here over 40. So I'm just watching to see how we interact here on our edge. I think that this is where bids will try to maintain. It's 20 to 30, but I need to see us show interest back over that rotation up. Or this seller is going to maintain this lower offer, step us down, especially if Russell starts to lose the momentum. And that'll just lead to our downside move, right? So just really watching this as our bottom of balance to see if we can maintain here and if we can get back above. If we can, then it should be all right. If it fails, then it'll just be a reversion back through. So bid is trying to step up here at 30. A good first sign. Just need to show a bit of interest higher though. We can hold this 20 to 30. We're in an okay spot. Understand like we closed and have opened on new 15s above POC of our previous candle, right? So we're just looking to see if this continue to maintain. And if as long as that's happening, we should be able to look up. If this continues to just kind of like get eaten and we're trading in this like 10-point chop, it's just undecided still. Then we're just going to wait on Russell to decide his right direction if it fails to continue pushing, I think. And then it's, again, just a reversion back down to like 510. So you just kind of have to wait. It's way too slow to make any decisions. All we know is that we have recovered our balance low, 30. As long as that's maintaining, we're in an okay for upside. Yeah, I mean, there's potential for a little bit of liquidity to step back in here soon at 2. But if that doesn't really happen, then yeah, it'll probably be I see a crazy spot.
Oh boy. Wow. That second line is actually crazy.
Yeah. Bit a bit trapped above 30 there.
I just stepped away a bit as ES sits on this POC, just compared to what it was above 70 versus below.
Again, remember from this low 20 bid, need to see us step back over 30s and then see a secondary buyer step in for this to have any validity, or we will reject 30s here on our offer off of a failure to push back above, and then probably rotate down to 510 target. So watch to see if we can get a secondary buyer here following our pathing. Hold of our 20 to 30. We need to see this this guy step in for a higher low. I'm risking off my first contract here as we push into 38.40 area from our low into our 20s. This is POC of our sell side candle where we trapped. We're going to need to show a very clear interest above this 40 if we're going to get continuation higher. Understand that this is where our last real seller was, right here. I'm going to off into that because I understand that if we fail to get above, that this will be where sell side is sitting. On the speed of the day, VK. I scalp a decent amount, yeah. I mean, well, it depends what you consider a scalp. I don't swing whatsoever anymore. Unless we're getting like huge market moves where I'm like, you know, multiple 100 points above my entry. And I feel like we have a potential for trend continuation overnight. That's the only time I'll swing with futures, and it's very rare. But I mean, yes, I trade. I close all positions every day and then start fresh next day. Awesome, Brave. Tom will take care of that. But yeah, my average hold time is usually around like 10 to 30 minutes. On days like today, though, where it's just balance rotations, like it is what it is, right? Like we're just pushing into our limits. So it's not really like a scalping market. I mean, I guess it is, but like it's not like a quick trading market unless you're just going for like 10-point little rotations. But like our main rotations are 20 points right now. So like it's not a great day to trade in general. Like on a normal day with good volatility, like 20 points is something that you get within like 10 seconds of an entry, of a good entry. It's just like a very slow day. And it is what it is. Yeah, there's a section called trade reviews there. But again, like I said that most people make their own Discord and then just have like individual channels where they like section off to do their trade journal. But the TFC Discord is where everything is posted. All that. All right, it's 2 o'clock. We are continuing to just sell at daily POC here at 40. 20 to 30 is still attempting to hold, but it's very slow. I am going to head out, and I will see you all tomorrow. If you're going to continue to trade, Mario will be in the Discord still on VC. But I will talk to you all tomorrow, and it'll be a public stream tomorrow as well because it's Wednesday. I just wasn't here yesterday on Monday, so everything got pushed. But yeah, tomorrow will still be in business as usual. Stream will be open to the public tomorrow.
Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Appreciate it. All right.
Goodbye, friend.
Goodbye.